Hey everyone, Michael Halcomb here from Pistuoman um, at michaelhalcomb.com. The other day I was listening to JayZ's song, Empire State of Mind, and a line caught my attention that really hadn't before, this one. And Jesus can't save you, life starts when the church ends. So I was going on YouTube to listen to the song, and I saw that tons of people had made videos suggesting that JayZ had dissed Jesus or dissed Christianity. And I came back and listened to the lyrics again, and I just thought how absurd what these Christians are doing. They're clearly not taking the verse in context, and definitely not taking that line in the context of the overall verse. So I just wanted to kind of offer a rebuttal here. And so what you have to notice, first of all, there's tons of biblical imagery. It's just laced throughout the entirety of this verse. It even starts at the very end of the chorus right here and going into verse 3. So, welcome to the bright light. And if you listen to the song, lights are a motif that they revisit throughout the song, the lights of New York City. Alicia Keys says over and over, the bright lights will inspire you. He says, welcome to the bright light. And then he goes into the third verse and immediately says, lights is blinding, girls need blinders. There's two things I want to point out here. This contrast with light here and then darkness. Yeah, it's light, but actually these girls that he's going to go on to talk about, they're blinded, so they're living in darkness. So already you have this contrast between light and darkness, which of course is a biblical theme. Read John chapter 1. The second thing I wanted to point out is the girls here that he's talking about. And sort of, he's speaking of girls collectively who come to the city. They come here for school. Right? That's the one thing they come in here for, with the intentions of graduating, but they end up graduating to something different, the high life. They come here for school. He's evidently seen this all the time. They go from being in light to being in darkness. They have these blinders on, and it causes them to step out of bounds quick. And in fact, it's almost like moral or spiritual casualties. He uses this line, who sip the light casually, where she's talking about alcohol there. They start drinking casually, and then gradually it just becomes worse. A full-blown problem. And here's some biblical imagery, but it's also wordplay. Don't bite the apple, Eve. Of course, Genesis chapter 3, where Eve bites the apple. But of course, here he's also talking about the big apple. And he's telling these, Eve is sort of like a collective name for all these girls here. In fact, in the Bible, Eve just means mother of humanity, so she's a collective individual there too. So he's saying, don't bite the big apple. Don't bite into this sin that New York is offering you. So they start drinking, becomes worse. They start to take a bite out of this apple, and next, before they know it, they're caught up in the crowd. Negative crowd, of course. Now you're in style. And this is a very interesting line. And in the winter gets cold and vogue with your skin out. Eventually, they're, for lack of better terms, whoring around or whoring themselves out. In the city with their skin out. And I'm pretty sure he's speaking of prostituting themselves out here. They're living in this city of sin. Again, this darkness. The city of sin is a pity on a whim. Good girls gone bad. So he's talking about the girls still. And guess what? The city's just filled with them. Sin has just gotten rampant. You've seen this time after time. These good girls come here for school, they want to graduate, but gradually they fall into these sinful things, and they graduate to a different type of high life. In fact, this one who is now in vogue with her skin out, she's a mommy who took a bus trip. Now she's got her bust out talking about her chest. And this is a pretty graphic line, but everybody ride her just like a bus route. She's a prostitute. Here's some more biblical imagery. Hail Mary. And then the Virgin. So Hail Mary to the city, you're a virgin. And then, of course, what we'd expect next, Jesus. Hail Mary, Virgin, Jesus. And then church. And this is the line, again, that everyone gets all bent out of shape about. So right here, he pictures these girls who have come here. They realize that they've fallen into sin. They want to go to church, and they try to make it right. They think going to confession and saying their Hail Marys is what's going to save them. And he says, and Jesus can't save you. Life starts when the church ends. And what he means by this is basically Jesus can't save you if you won't let him. Because you go to church, and as soon as church ends, guess what? Your old life starts right back up again. So Jesus can't save you if you won't really let him. You've got to kind of read this poetic sentence backwards. So when the church ends, guess what? Your life starts, your old life starts, and Jesus can't save you after all because you won't let him save you. Keep going back. He isn't dissing Jesus. He isn't dissing salvation. He isn't dissing the church. This is poetry, and again, it's just riddled with biblical imagery. And despite what one guy was on here saying, his video had like 10,000 views or something like that. He was saying JayZ wasn't theological. He couldn't think theologically. Wasn't trained as a theologian. Well, maybe he wasn't trained as a theologian, but certainly he can grasp these concepts. He's a pretty brilliant writer, and so now he lumps all these people in. It's ball players, rap stars. They're all addicted to this limelight, this fame. He says, MDMA got you feeling like a champion. The city never sleeps. Better slip you an Ambien. There's another song he has, I think it's called Lost, where he says something very similar to this. A friend pointed this out to me, where he says, I think he says, see Jesus, see Judas, see Caesar, see Brutus, see the fame, it's like suicide. So that whole idea, it's just going to kill you if you chase after it. So anyways, that's my rebuttal to you Christians who are slamming JayZ and totally misinterpreting what he's saying here. Alright, for more, visit michaelhalcom.com.